Hey guys, my name is Discourse and welcome to my channel dedicated to bringing you the best Batman miniature game content on the internet. For more content just like this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button so you're always up to date. Today I'm going to be discussing with you the new April pre-orders that have just been revealed by Night Models. So this has obviously been a long time coming. I've got a few videos already on this subject, but this is a really big month for the game. It looks like quite a lot of new stuff have been revealed. So let's go through them. I haven't looked through a lot of these just yet. I've sort of been waiting to get my initial reactions. And I'm just going to, I think, in terms of this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to just run through everything that's available to buy so that if that's all you're interested in, you can just stick with me for that. But then afterwards, I'm actually going to go in because the new card sets for the organized crime Cult, as well as the Penguin crews, have all been released to the Dropbox. So they're available digitally, which means that we can actually have a look at those. I'm not going to go over those in any great detail. More so, I'm just going to be sort of showing you where to get those so you can look them up yourself, as well as just give you my initial impressions on them, because I have had a quick glance over those and I'm really excited for those. But I think first, what's best is just to quickly go over everything that's available this month. So, first of all, obviously, I think the biggest news there is for the veteran players, I think, is not Crazy Quilt. For the veteran players, it's the objective card set. I think this is huge news. We know that this comes with every single card deck except for Batman, Joker, and, Mr. Freeze, obviously. So, this is great. And it's priced at a really good price at €25. So that's about 22 pounds, I think. I'm not sure how much that is in dollars, but that's that's a lot cheaper than I had been anticipating. I expected this box set to be more so around maybe like €40, to be honest, because the previous card packs, whenever they were selling these as for each individual crew, they were selling for around €15. So this is a great saving. You're going to pick up so much more card for each dollar, for each euro that you spend on these. So I'm really happy to see that. This means that it's going to be a lot more palatable for new players to pick this up alongside the starter set. Apart from that, there is, of course, the starter set as well. So let's see. So this is going to be the new starter set. I've already given you a lot of my thoughts on this actual box itself. It's €75. So if you're wondering about the price, it is quite significantly cheaper than the previous box set, but it comes with quite a bit less. Now, it comes with everything basically that you're going to need in order to get started in the game. So you can see here it comes with the templates for expansive weapons. It comes with the audacity markers. It comes with suspect markers. It comes with rulers. It comes with dice. It comes with zero tokens. It comes with the lamppost tokens. It comes with all the templates. It comes with the Joker deck and the Batman deck, and it comes with the character cards. It also comes with two really strong crews. It comes with the Back to Gotham Joker crew that has Harley Quinn and a bunch of thugs, and it has Batman as well as a bunch of really strong cop models, GCPD models, including Harvey Bullock. Now, what you're losing from the original 2020 box set will be, of course, Commissioner Gordon is being sold separately and the Joker is being sold separately. So I think that for newer players, what you're probably going to want to do is, and I think this is, if you've got money to burn, right, is probably to pick up this box and then if you want to play as the Joker, probably pick up the Joker. Whereas if you want to play as Batman, probably pick up Commissioner Gordon. Because if you pick up either of those two sort of larger base models, you'll then have a full 350 reputation crew, and 350 reputation is the standard sort of game size. But as of right now, I think these crews are fine to sort of just play against each other, although there is going to be a little bit of imbalance. Just be pre-warned of that. The Joker crew in this set is definitely a lot weaker than the Batman crew, just with this box. Just because they don't have the Joker, they don't have access to some of the powerful rules that the Joker has, like Chaos Agent. But in any case, for €75, I think you're getting a lot of content in this box for what you're paying for. So this is a great buy. Then there's the Joker, of course. He's being sold alongside Commissioner Gordon. So the Joker's being sold for €43, £38. So that is that's basically what we sort of expected. This is a great Joker model. He's very competitive. He's a very strong model. I'd really recommend him. And he's definitely the first thing you should buy if you're interested in the Joker after you pick up the starter set. Commissioner Gordon as well. This is a very strong version of Commissioner Gordon. There's now a new version of Commissioner Gordon, the year one version, which we'll go over. But this version of Gordon is very strong. He's 70 reputation, so he slots straight into that Batman crew from the starter set, giving you 350 rep. He's very strong. He comes with like a spotlight special power. He's just great. I really, really like him. So I'd really recommend him as well if you're interested in Batman, especially if you're interested in the more GCPD side of Batman, as opposed to the sort of Bat family side. So £38 as well, €43. The big base models, this is sort of the standard price for them. Now, there's also year one Batman as part of the sort of year one release set. And an interesting aspect to this is this part. Okay, so this Batman model is going to come with the new Joker and Batman cards. So, for those who don't know, this is something I've been parodying a lot, so forgive me if you've already heard this spiel from me before, but this is very frustrating that the website will not stay with this. So, for those who don't know, Joker and Batman in the original starter set in 2020 came with only 17 cards in their deck. They were expected to make up the sort of the last 3 cards of their crew, because every crew needs to have a deck of 20 cards during a game. They're expected to make up these last 3 cards from their generic cards. Now, this starter set doesn't come with a generic deck. So that generic deck is included in the objective card set that has the generic cards in it. So because this starter set doesn't come with the generic cards, technically these crews wouldn't be legal. So what Night Models have done is they've created new cards for the Batman crew and new cards for the Joker crew, which is awesome. There's 3 new cards for each one of them. Now, they are a single card that you have to take multiples of 3 of. So you can see them here just to the left of Batman Year 1. And it looks like what they're doing is if you purchase Batman Year 1, so this is really good news for those veterans who picked up the original starter box in 2020. If you pick up the Year 1 Batman, you will get the Joker cards and the Batman cards that you need. Now, it's only limited to the first 300 units, so I would suggest if you are interested in the Year 1 Batman, or to be honest, even in having a sort of physical cards for the Joker or Batman, and you don't want to pick up the entire objective card set, it's probably worthwhile picking up this version of Batman. He is only €18, so he's relatively reasonably priced. I haven't looked at his card yet. We'll have a look at that a little bit later. But first, I just kind of wanted to sort of explain everything that's being sold this month, so you know whether or not there's anything you're interested in. We also have Commissioner Gordon and Flash from Year 1. So you do get 2 models, a little bit on the pricier side, I think, for just the 2 models. €29, that is quite pricey for just 2 guys, but they're very good sculpts. They're very cool. We'll have a look at their rules later on. So I suspect though that they might be they might be very strong and probably a lead-in to a more of a Year 1 sort of focus in the coming months. We'll talk whenever I'm going to go over just a quick brief aside over the organized crime deck later on about that, but I have some suspicions as to how things are going to be going for throughout this year in terms of the release schedule for Night Models. So aside from that, they also have Crazy Quilt. He's the new sort of meme henchman who's going to be a bit wacky. So if you enjoy that, well, you got him. 44 reputation. So right on cue. Yep, he is going to be the same sort of price point as Krill, Polka Dot Man, the Calendar Man, and Condiment King and such. Now, aside from that, those really big, those are very cool releases. We also have this. So Night Models are releasing, it looks like, a sort of crew marker, which is pretty cool. It looks like this is sort of going to be your snitch marker here. Yeah, so this, it looks like, is meant to be a snitch marker for you. This is just a random suspect marker. I'm not really sure what this data pad is meant to represent, although I presume that this is meant to represent a radio marker that you can put on your physical card. Ah, okay, it tells you here. So this is for unveiling the truth, which I'm presuming must be related to the new Batman card. Very interesting. Aside from that, we have Wait for Backup as well. Looks like a marker for that. So that's really cool. And the Joker has got an equivalent as well. So it looks like these are going to add a little bit of 3D, like 3 dimensions to the gaming area. I think from these they look to be 3D, right? They look to have a little bit of a 3D component to them. So it looks like, yep, we've got the 8 suspect markers, which is the Joker card. We have the poisoned fish markers, explosive teeth, and finally the gas canisters as well, which is used in a few of the resources for the Joker. So, very much a sort of prestige item. You don't need these, especially if you have the suspect markers from the starter set. You're not going to need to buy those sort of premium kind of markers, but for those who are interested in sort of beautifying the game board a little bit, I think they'll definitely be very interesting. I'll probably pick them up just to add a little bit of added interest. So that's really sort of everything that's new. Right, that's everything that's new, or was available and is now available in terms of the models. But I wanted to just point out one part, which is if you type April in the bar up here, you're going to see a lot of bundles, which is very, very interesting. So these bundles seem to consist of second edition box sets, or in the case of Birds of Prey, third edition box sets, bundled alongside the objective card set. So if you're interested basically in expanding your collection from Joker or Batman, if you've bought this starter set, this Back to Gotham set as a new player, and then you're interested in a different crew, like say the Riddler, you can pick up this bundle and have everything you need to play. Absolutely everything. And that is really, really cool. I think for new players, this is a really awesome way to get straight into the game with a crew that you really like. Because, you'll see here, they seem to have everybody, right? They have Penguin, they have the Militia, obviously from Arkham Knight, who comes with Deathstroke. They have the Kobra Cult. They have Riddler. They have Birds of Prey. They have Court of Owls. They have a Batman bundle, which comes with the starter set, Commissioner Gordon, and crew markers. They have the League of Assassins, which is the objective deck, the second edition Bat Box that came with Talia and Cheshire, as well as the third edition Ninjas. So basically, what this has is everything I don't currently own for League of Assassins. So Night Models are really testing me here. I'm not sure. I might end up picking this up. There's a Joker bundle, which comes with the starter set, the Joker, and the crew markers. And then finally, there is a League of Assassins bundle, it seems here, that comes with Clayface and a lot of organized crime. So obviously, that's been mislabeled. In some capacity, I think this is more like an organized crime list. It comes from Falcone, the Prisoner, the second edition Prisoner set, which are just some really nice, kind of cheaper, unknown affiliation models who can be taken in any crew, and Clayface, who is an unknown affiliated model who is really strong and does work very well in an organized crime crew. So I think they've just, yep, they have mislabeled this, and this actually links to the League of Assassin. But so if you give it a few, and these aren't all created equal, right? So they're not all the same price, it looks like right now. Some of them are cheaper than others. The organized crime bundle being the cheapest, which does make sense, right? It comes with the least. But yeah, so this is something for new players. I'd really recommend having a look into these if you're interested in a crew. Like if you want to play Penguin, pick those up. So this all looks excellent for a new player. Yeah, so this is great news basically for new players. If we actually check the Facebook page, which was giving me a little bit of an error there, I couldn't log in. But now I've gotten in. So now we're clicking at Night Models. They have actually, they've posted up finally about the new pre-orders, which is awesome. They have revealed that they're going to be doing a new app. Now, this app is very interesting because from what we understand, or from what I understand, and from what I have discerned, it seems like they're going to stop releasing the actual physical cards for the miniatures. So currently, as it is right now, whenever you purchase a box set of miniatures, they will come with the character cards, and there are some models that are from the second edition of the game that have the second edition character cards, and then there are some models from the third edition of the game that come with the third edition character cards. And it looks like Night Models are doing away with that completely. Now no cards will come with it, and instead this new app will have fully interactive cards that you're able to basically used during game. So it should hopefully keep the gaming area a little bit cleaner, and allow you to track things a little bit easier, as well as that help keep things up to date. So this allows night models to sort of patch, some of the rules, to update models, make them more competitive if there's any issues. So that's really big news in terms of that. It looks like it's going to come with everything, and that is releasing soon. Looks like that's probably going to be available, in time for these new pre-orders to come out. So that's pretty awesome. And apart from that, then, so there's obviously all of this new stuff. Sorry, I've just seen that someone's asking which objective sets are coming out. So this the objective card set is going to come with basically everybody that is currently doesn't have a box. So we're looking at Soldiers of Fortune, you're looking at Penguin, you're looking at Cobra Cult, Riddler, Birds of Prey, Court of Owls, League of Assassins, Organized Crime, and not Batman and not Joker, really is the really big aspect of that. So these are awesome. Like, I would really recommend, if you're a new player and you're interested in Bane, for example, I would pick this up alongside the starter set if you can. Or at least it's something to think about picking up later on. So apart from that, the Dropbox has now been updated with a lot of the digital content. So today, Night Models have released the digital files for the Organized Crime, for Cult, and for Penguin. And I've had a really, really quick sort of brief overview of them. And before I just went over those, I wanted to quickly sort of just spotlight this aspect, which is that Night Models have cleaned up the wording of a lot of cards in anticipation for the card box set, it looks like. So, for example, the wording on Kill Them Twice has been cleaned up. This was obviously a big problem for the game. Like, some of the cards had very unclear text, but now cards like Kill Them Twice have been updated. They now read perfectly fine. They're very easy to understand, and they've clarified a lot of those. So I just really wanted to spotlight that, because that's awesome. That's fixed a lot of issues I think I had with some of the earlier cards. So Night Models have done a really good job there. But apart from that, yep, so it looks like there is Organized Crime. I've had a brief glance over those. This isn't going to be like a review of the cards or anything. This is just going to be a really quick overview from what I've seen, just my initial impressions. And it looks like, so Organized Crime as a crew, sort of the philosophy of them has tended to be they are a bit of a horde faction. They come with a lot of guys who have low defense, not a lot of health. I mean, they are just guys in suits armed with kind of guns and baseball bats. So, and the deck itself plays really well into that. There's a lot of protecting the boss style gameplay, or be within inspire range and do a thing, which is really cool, because a lot of the Organized Crime bosses like Falcone, Maroni, Lex Luthor, they all are sort of, well, maybe not Lex Luthor, but Falcone and Maroni, certainly, they're not very strong in combat. They are very much support pieces that come with not a lot of health, because they're just normal guys, right? And so you really are incentivized to protect them with your sort of horde of mafiosos, And this objective deck seems to really play around with manipulation. So there's sort of like the dark side to the GCPD, to the Batman deck, which wants to put a lot of suspect markers. This deck seems to really want to play around with suspect markers as well, but sort of in the opposite way. So they want to remove suspect markers within range of their boss. They want their boss, to mark people out. Yeah, and they do get a card that basically rewards them for removing a model as a casualty, which is a really big deal. Not a lot of this is a very powerful card because of it. You don't often get rewarded for killing models in this game. So yeah, these are all very cool. I suppose I'll do this, and there will be a link in the description then to this Dropbox that you'll be able to click down below and get access to the cards, so you'll be able to see them yourself. Now, Carmine Falcone's specific personal card has been included in this list. So has Maroni as well. So they both have some really interesting cards. Falcone seems pretty cool. Maroni's has a little bit of, I know there's some people who are confused about the wording of that, But I think essentially what it means is that the enemy model with the highest reputation cost within 6 inches of one of your friendly models and within 6 inches of two friendly suspects must suffer damage equal to at least half of his endurance. So I think some people believe that it might be the highest reputation cost out of the enemy crew entirely. I don't think that's the case. That's not my interpretation. The ventriloquist has got a personal card, which is very cool. And Black Mask has got a final card. So obviously, Black Mask doesn't have a second edition or a third edition model, but is this a big hint that we're going to see a Black Mask model? I really hope so. Black Mask is a very cool kind of character in Batman that I think is a little bit underserved. I think he's definitely kind of grown in popularity since maybe Arkham Origins. I know that was my first real introduction to the character. So I think a lot of people sort of picked up from him from that, and then obviously he was in Birds of Prey, played by Ewan McGregor. Which I kind of do hope that if there is a Black Mask model, it's kind of based on Ewan McGregor. I know that might be a little bit sacrilegious to some, but yeah. So in terms of the organized crime deck, it looks really strong to me. Broad overview, it looks like it's a really good beginner deck, to be honest. A lot of the newer crews that have come out with very sort of complicated decks, very powerful decks with a lot of really strong models, but the decks themselves have been kind of hard. I'm thinking like Two Face here, right? Or Riddler. There's just a lot going on in those decks. The Organized Crime looks like a very back to basics deck. It reminds me a lot of the GTPD deck in specific. It's just very easy to play, and that's great because I think there is a space for those kinds of decks. Now they do have an additional mechanic. This mechanic is Black Money, which is very interesting. So how this works is it looks like whenever you score a card, you tend to get like $100 worth of black money, and then during a friendly model's activation, you can, if they're in Inspire range, you can spend this money in the black market. And basically, what that means is you just spend it, right? You spend $200 of your black money whilst in Inspire range, and you can basically pick up special temporary equipment for a model. Like, for example, legal protection allows this model to ignore the arrest trait. So that's very cool. It's very flavorful in a very specific sort of mobster kind of way. I'm a really big fan of this, and I think this will be really interesting to see in play. It basically gives me the impression that organized crime seem to be a very win more momentum based faction that once you start the ball rolling, they will begin to take off straight to the moon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys in action. They look pretty well balanced, and we'll see. Next up is cults, and cults look to be sort of a continuation of that previous philosophy that I was talking about, where they're a little bit more kind of complicated, and they've just got a lot of stuff going on in their deck. So they might be for more of a sort of just more intricate style gameplay. I haven't had as much a look over these cards. But I think one of the first things you'll probably notice is this marker here. It's not a resource marker. So cults basically have an additional mechanic of faith. And how that works is whenever they essentially do anything worthwhile, which is place a suspect marker. Oh no, it's whenever they place a suspect marker within 8 inches of the boss gains a faith marker, and that faith marker can then be spent. They basically accumulate faith markers, and those faith markers can be spent in lieu of resources to activate these sorts of cards. Now, one thing about these faith markers is that this is actually kind of, if you do not spend your faith markers, they will turn into stun damage at the end of the round. So you are very much incentivized to keep your cards cycled and moving through your deck because you want to basically ensure that you don't get stun damage, right? So these are very interesting. There's a lot of suspect marker play in these cards, but in a sort of very weird way. It looks like they're very much incentivized to keep to the edges of the map. Now, there's another element of this as well, which is these is cults, right? And the current cults models that we have are the Kobra Cult. Some of these cards seem to be specifically for Kobra Cult. If you look here, there's like a cobra on the globe. I mean, I'm presuming that's the Kobra Cult sign. So does this mean that we're going to see different cults? Because some of these cards don't don't have that sign, right? So I'm presuming that this means that these can only be taken by Cobra Cult. This cult card can be taken by any cult, which therefore lends to the question: what other cults are there? Are we going to see a Deacon Blackfire cult? Are we going to see a Cult of Crime cult? This is really, really interesting. I'm really interested to see where they go with this design space. Um, yeah, so these cards definitely seem a little bit harder to score, but I do know that the Cobra models are pretty powerful, so a little bit of give and take there. And then finally, we have Penguin. And Penguin, w- you know, we were all expecting just to see Penguin this month, so just having so many crews is just awesome to be able to look at. I'm sort of overwhelmed a little bit. I need to read through these and sort of gather my thoughts on a lot of them. But just straight off the bat, Penguin looks really strong. He looks to be a very competitive deck as well. He has some harder to score suspect markers, I would say, compared to organized crime. And he's definitely got a little bit more going on in terms of the deck. A little bit more kind of like divide the gaming area in 4 zones. Plays around with event markers a little bit more. But he has a really, really strong ability in the business counters, which basically means that every single time if you're playing as the Penguin, every time one of your friendly models suffers a KO or is removed as a casualty, or your opponent scores an objective card, you get a business counter. And your business counter can be used to essentially get you an additional action even if you don't have an audacity marker, with the only caveat being that this action can't be one that you have already taken prior. And then you also get to basically reveal one of your objective cards, remove the top card from your objective deck, and you place it face down near the gaming area. And then your opponent chooses one of your models, one of your henchman models, to give them innervating equal to the revealed card's resource cost. So if it's a 2 resource card, then you'll get innervating too, right? But it's probably always worth it to get an additional action if you need to take the action. So that's pretty awesome. That's a really powerful ability. And of course, the cards themselves are really good. I'm seeing here, it looks like there's quite a fair amount of 3 cost scores or 3 victory point scorers. So he's got at least 2 there, and then a bunch of 2s. And it doesn't look like there's any 1 cost scorer. So no 1 victory point, which is awesome, which gives him a little bit more of a higher ceiling than, say, a crew like the Joker. And yeah, it looks like he also has a lot of sort of interaction with scenery elements and suspect markers. I look forward to kind of really going over his cards. Now, his resources, you'll be happy to know his resources don't cost a lot, which means that obviously that mitigates a little bit against the enervating that the business counters can do. And I mean, we'd seen smuggled goods. That allows you to play an opponent's resource card, which is just awesome. Yeah, and it looks like Penguin's going to have a lot of that sort of element of a lot of messing around with your opponent, but then with that little touch of brute force as well that the Penguin is sort of known for. I think Profitable Negotiation is a card that really stood out to me. It basically allows you to look at your opponent's hand, choose one of their cards that they have in hand, and say, if you don't score that card by the end of the round, I'm going to score my card. So I think that's awesome because it bundles in the fact that you can see the opponent's hand of cards that they have, and then potentially score 2 points anyway, right? So that's just great. Penguin's personal card is here as well, which is My House, My Rules. This is an awesome card. I really like this card. It basically means that you target an enemy model within 8 inches of your boss, and, well, presumably the Penguin then, right? And every single time that model places a suspect marker, inflicts a KO, or removes a model as a casualty, you get you get 2 markers. And whenever you get at least 5 markers, you score the 3 pointer. You get the 3 victory points, and that's just so great, right? Because it basically rewards you for the opponent doing anything functional whatsoever. So you can really make a Batman player, if they've got Batman running around messing up your plans, you can make them think twice. That's really good. But aside from that, there is a really interesting resource component to this card as well, which allows you to spend the markers that this card accumulates on doing things like moving a friendly model, or placing a friendly suspect in contact with a friendly model, or looking at your opponent's hand and discarding one card from it. So that is all super awesome. Yeah. So, and of course, there's Emperor Penguin as well, which is, yeah, I haven't really looked at that. And there is Loose Lips too, and it looks like he's gotten a wee card, so sort of like a bird there. Yeah, so if you're interested in the new cards, there is a link in the description, I think I said before, to the Dropbox where you'll be able to find them. Obviously, there's the new Joker card and the new Batman card as well. The new Joker card is a three victory points. That's a huge deal. That ups the victory point ceiling for the Joker. I'm really pleased to see that. As someone who plays a lot of Joker, I'm really happy to see that. It looks like it might be a pretty hard card to score though. So we'll see. We'll see whether or not it's viable to bring it in the deck. And for the Batman card, I think I've already seen that because it was advertised with the year 1 Batman. Yep. This card basically rewards you for revealing enemy suspect markers. So that's great. Plays into exactly what you want to do as the Batman crew anyway. It helps out detectives, it helps out free agents, and it helps out sidekicks as well, because they're the only ones who can really get rewarded for doing that. But that's great. So yeah, so really big month. I'd really recommend basically picking up the starter set if you want to get started in the game. As well as that, I'd recommend either picking up this box, which is super cheap for what it is. I think this is really, really cheap. Pick this up, or pick up a bundle. If you are interested in a specific crew, I think the bundle is very good value for money for what you get in it. And yeah, and then if you want to be a bit of a whale, you can pick up the crew markers as well, which I will probably do. So yeah, really big month. I'll probably have a separate video going over my first impressions of the actual character cards and looking at what you get for for the points cost. That will probably come out tomorrow. I want to have like a few. I want to actually look at them a little bit later on this evening, and I'll just record it then. So it probably won't come out until tomorrow or so. But if it's out later, it's out later. Yeah, I'm really excited to look at those. I presume that Batman is probably going to be a bit cheaper. But anyway, I'll hold that off. So thanks a lot for joining me, everyone. As always, please, if you did enjoy this content, please just give us a thumbs up and click a little subscribe and hit the wee bell button as well, so that you're notified whenever new videos come out. As always, my name is Discourse, and I have been your guide to Gotham.